All right, guys. Dave here with Affordable Door and Gate. I just got done with a service call kind of in the area here. And I wanted to stop for a minute and talk to you guys about the evolution of life in a sense here. How customers can change and how you can ramp up your business and how you can decrease your business and how things come and go. This company behind me here, you can see where there's semis. I started working here right in the beginning. I remember in the '06 area, '06, '07. And I remember we got in here and I remember I was so excited because I thought this place is going to make me millions. Like I'm going to be a millionaire for working at this place, right? Because I got this customer, I got this contract. And I remember a very crucial thing a guy told me one time that worked here. He was, my boss basically. He said, boy, it's got to suck for your industry because he said how things, your customers are coming and going basically. And what he was trying to explain was basically in these businesses, right? When you get into these, companies, the management doesn't always stay there, right? I was so young and dumb that I used to think how, I just thought, we're here. We made it in. We're in their payroll or, their accounts payable and stuff like that. We're here for life. And I literally was going to hire a full-time guy just to work here because we were here so much. I couldn't even do any other customers almost. And here we ended up doing, this is a big operation. I'll take a spin around here in a second with the truck. But I'm in the cul-de-sac right now at the end of the road. And I remember we were working on man doors, which is a way different industry. If you are considering doing man doors, I don't even recommend it because man doors are a different animal. A huge different animal. You have to have somebody skilled that knows what they're doing. You have to have a good vendor and your pricing has to be right. It's a very hard, and then jams and full of concrete, all kinds of things. Another thing I remember about this cul-de-sac, I was just in here, or I'm in here right now. They literally, I remember this company, the bump stops on the back of commercial doors, you guys? The ones that are the U-shaped, the black thing, so if you throw the door up, it doesn't fly out of the track. I remember specifically with this customer, this company, they ended up having a door they threw open, right? So one of the employees, and that bracket broke, that spring, right, compressed, and it snapped right in half. If I get a chance, I'll put a picture right here so you know what I'm talking about. The bump stops, U-stops. That thing broke, and I remember across the company, right, it was a new standard that all of those had to have that orange strap, that safety strap in them now. Or it had to have a safety cable. So if that thing broke, it wouldn't come down and hit somebody in the head. And I was way over my head because I remember they wanted us to come in here and change them all. And this place, they got hundreds and hundreds of doors. And they have another location that's another 45 minutes away from this location that the guy that was working here got transferred. He got moved over there closer to his home, which at the time, it stung. But I understand it now because I'm older. So I came in here and I remember this cul-de-sac right here. I bought a scissor lift and I bought it from a rental place that I would rent from because I knew that lift would fit in doorways and it was an upright. I remember it was an old upright. I was kind of bummed because when I bought it, the guy charged me everything, right? He's like, I got to charge you tax and everything. And I was trying to do like a cash deal. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I'm buying this used piece of equipment, that I pretty much rent every week right now. Whatever, I got to have it. I need it. So I buy it, right? I don't have enough money to buy a trailer. So I buy this trailer that's a steel deck. I still even got it to this day. I'm surprised I do. And it tilted, right? And it sat probably 3-ish, maybe 4 feet off the ground. And this thing would tilt. And it had this big winch on it, right? That would crank. You think of a little boat one. Think of it like 100 times 100. It was huge. Had this cable, right? So at first I was trying to do that, right? I'd try to winch it up there. That get to be a pain in the butt. It was not safe. It was, the scissor lift's on an angle. It was almost like a two-man job because you had to have one guy with the scissor lift trying to make it go up while you're trying to crank it with this winch. And I remember At one point, I got ramps. I built these wood ramps with like a bracket, and I drive up it. And I remember when I was in here, the brakes didn't work on that scissor lift. And I was killing myself, guys. Literally killing myself. And I don't want this for you. I really don't. I remember that thing, the brakes didn't work. It came off that trailer. It hit those ramps. And I was on the side of it. I wasn't in the lift. I was on the side hanging on using the joystick. And I remember that thing hit those ramps and it went rolling down that thing with no control, right? I stopped. I jumped off it. And I did like this, like praying to God, right? Like, oh my God, it's gonna, you know, and it went rolling off this thing. And if it would have fell off those ramps, it would have flipped over, and it could have potentially flipped over and killed me. The worst part is I was working the weekend. I was by myself. There was nobody back here. This place is pretty hopping right now. There's this truck running around. There's people walking around. There was nobody here. It was all by myself. And I tell you what, that was a wake-up call to me that I said, you know what? This isn't too smart. So I ended up eventually buying a better trailer. And then now we moved up to our other trailers that are way better. But I was desperate. You had to do what you had to do. So another thing, so now we get roped into this other location, farther away. We're doing it on the weekend, right? We're just buried in work. And this is, of course, when the economy's crashing. Like I said, our commercial customers were keeping us going. I remember we were in a truck ramp area. This one was so big that they could literally like shut the door and a truck could be parked inside, but it was on an incline. And I remember we're in there, right? It's the end of the day. We're hot. It's summertime, whatever it was. We're ready to go. We're ready to leave. But we want to bring our scissor lift with us because next day is Monday or whatever. We got jobs. And I'm with my other guy there. And I remember I was cranking that thing, you know, that winch. And I remember the welds broke on it. And he's behind it, right? And he's even helping it push it because it's the battery's dead on it. It's the end of the day. You guys know what I'm talking about. Come on below. You guys know, if you've been there, if you've been doing this industry, you know, especially if you started from scratch, man, I'm telling you, it is like ultimate hell. Cranking that thing, and the welds break, boom, I remember. And the guy's behind it. I could have literally killed my business partner. And I just scream, you know, I'm like, get out of the way, get out of the way. Well, he jumps out of the way, that thing goes rolling down. And I remember, oh my God, I just about killed somebody. Thank goodness he got out of the way. That thing went rolling to a stop. And I remember he just looks at me and goes, what do we do? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I knew we couldn't come along it. It was the end of the day. I was like, I think we ended up coming along it. It was the end of the day. I would have said left it nowadays. I'd have been like, screw it, leave it. But we couldn't. We didn't have no option. So I remember I had to get, I think, 2 come-alongs, and we had to come along that thing back up to it. And what a pain in the butt. One click at a time. Click, 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 to get it on this silly trailer. Anyways, I wanted to share that story with you, with customers. Sometimes don't get your, you know, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's kind of the moral of the story. Your customers can change. And they do change. The person that started taking over, it was a lady. She was fine. But you know what was happening? We were going through 06. It's a lagging indicator, right? And I remember they were sending a maintenance guy up with me. And I said, what are you doing? You know, and he goes, well, they told me I got to drive the scissor lift. And we were using theirs. And he said, but they told me I had to stay in here with you and watch you. And I'm like, watch me? Why would you have to watch me? And I knew what they were doing. It was because they already got rid of a lot of their maintenance people. Because when we used to walk in, there would be like 8 or 10 guys just sitting around playing video games almost on these desks, right? And then all of a sudden you'd see the next year, about 2 or 3 years in, all of a sudden the desk went away and now they got to stand up, right? Now there's only like 6 guys. And it's almost like now down to 3 or 4 guys. And so they started having their own maintenance people do the work. And this guy was watching me to see how I was doing it. And we eventually just kind of fuzzed out of here, which was not a bad thing. It was a growing pains. We learned. And honestly, I don't miss this customer. I remember when I was at one of their locations, we were working on, I think, a man door, and I ended up cutting my thumb. And I tell you, this is how like serious some of this stuff is, right? I remember I cut my thumb. I was like, oh my gosh, I cut my thumb. Nothing major. And I remember walking to the bathroom, right, to take care of it. And I come back out, and you would have thought I murdered somebody. There was like 6 people standing around, and they're like looking at us. We're walking back, my business partner. And they're like, what happened? And I'm like, I cut my thumb? And they're like, well, we need to know. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I just found out myself. And I went to the bathroom. And so it was such a big deal. I told myself, I said, next time it happens, I said, I'll just put my thumb in my mouth and I'll suck on it. I'll suck the blood, which is gross because my hands were dirty and everything else. But that's just how these places are. And so I don't really miss this company just because of all the stuff, the safeties. And they they watch you in here too, right? They watch you, and they want to squeal on you. The employees here want to squeal on you and tell, which is not a bad thing. Safety is a really, really big thing. It's very important. But back then, it was just, we were so dying, we were so hustling. I mean, scrapping. I mean, no money. I'm so glad the guy gave me the opportunity to work here. But honestly, I don't want to come back here because it's just not a good fit for us. It's too much. It's almost like an hour in, hour out. But sometimes they're good customers or they're going to pay. So it's not a bad deal. But I just wanted to let you know, if you're in that paradigm, you might be just starting out and you're thinking, oh my God, just remember, things are going to change. Be diversified. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And you'll do better than me. And that's all I ask for. So I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. See you on the next one.